Welcome guys to another Blackfyre Productions video. Today we are doing a product review for GameMat.eu mats. I recently acquired 4 of their mats, 1 regular mat and then 3 of their double-sided G-mats, I think they're called, if I can remember correctly. Please do correct me. So I acquired these mats. I've already used one for one of the battle reports for Necromunda that I've done, and I loved it when I paired it up with some of their terrain and stuff like that. So I thought I would do a quick overview of the mats that I did get, show you the quality of them, show you the diversity in the prints, because they have a ton of prints available on their websites, which I will put in the description of the video below. So without further ado, let's get right into showing you those mats. So here is the first mat that we are showing off. All these mats I did acquire are 6x4 mats, so a big shout out again to GameMat.eu for sending them to the channel and supporting us there. I really enjoyed this mat when I saw it. I was playing Ash of Guerrilla Miniature Games, and we were doing some Necromunda, and he pulled this mat out for the game that we were playing, and just the contrast between the green and the gray, I really enjoyed it. And then like all the textures that are on there, so you got like vents, you got tiles, metal tiles that have been uplifted showing the green underneath, you got the hazard lines, wires, and even like some bullet casings and stuff like that down there, so like you can see them. So just like little details like that. Like I said, the contrast really is what drew to me. You can see like damage in some of the metal plating on the bottom and showing the cage underneath. What really drew to me again was the contrast between the gray and green. But being a big player of Necromunda, like it's probably my favorite system at this point in time for what I'm playing. And the green actually reminded me of my Vansar models that I was planning on getting when I saw this mat, because they weren't out yet. So that is the Chem Zone mat. I'll just sort of pan out a little bit so you can see it more in its entirety. That is the mat there, so we'll switch over to the next mat next. So here we are with our second mat that I'm reviewing today. It is the double-sided G-mat, or one of the 3 double-sided G-mats that I have. And the top half here is Battlegrounds. So what really drew me to this was like the texture of going from like the green sort of soil into the rough terrain with the rocks, and then going back into more like a barren side and green over here. So like that transition of color is something that I really liked, and sort of gave it like a nice earthy sort of worn look to it. But like, let's just zoom in. You can see all the texture in the rocks, in the plants, or the vegetation down there, the foliage, and then again over here into the sort of barreny, sort of cracked earth rocks again. So that is the one side of this mat. That is the double-sided G-mats, so this is Battleground. The other half, though, I'm going to roll it over here. I won't show you the entirety of it, because it's going to be a pain to roll over and flip as I'm filming. But this is the Winter Realm. What it is basically cobblestone streets, as you can see, with snow effects all throughout it. So I'm just trying to show you more of it. So it goes all throughout the mats. It makes like a big circular sort of central area of a town with a whole bunch of roads branching off and stuff like this. So this would be the center of the town right there. So these mats, I really do like these double-sided G-mats, because again, the diversity in play space and play areas. I went with a 6x4, even though I do mostly 4x4 games. That's just due to the fact that if I didn't want to necessarily play always on this side of the mat, I can switch it up and play on this 4x4 section instead, which is really nice. The only thing, so all these mats are the neoprene gaming mats, so like the mouse pad material. So the Chem Zone one is only one-sided, so it has a rubber backing. So these double printed ones, the only thing that I can say that I don't even want to say that they're negative, because I love that they're double-sided. But the only thing that I can say is that when you're just laying them on the table, and there's no lip. Like if you look at my table here, there's like no lip to it whatsoever. It's just a flat surface. And so if there's no lip on these tables, these mats actually tend to slide, at least on the table that I'm using, because it is a countertop, like a sheer sort of soft, smooth countertop. So because they don't have that rubber backing, they do slip a little bit, but once you start getting terrain and everything else like that on there, I didn't have any issues with these mats moving. So we're going to move on from the Winter Realm and Battleground mat onto the next one. This here is the third mat of the 4 that I got. So the first half of this double-sided GameMat is the Quarantine Zone. So you could use this theoretically for like a zombie apocalypse, any sort of sci-fi futuristic city board, or even if you play games such as Marvel, DC Universe, Batman, you could use this mat for that as well. So you can see here, you have like the roads and the wires and everything else, but then you have the areas where the buildings would go as well. You can see like more grates with cables and that coming out of it. What I like about this mat specifically is the textures, the colors and the textures. So like you have like the nice rust effects on everything down there, and then over there the checkered effects, which I really like, but that orangish sort of rust on the gray, the orangish yellowish sort of rust, that is what really drew me to this board. So that is the first half of this board. It is the Quarantine Zone. You can get this one off GameMat.eu by itself if you are so inclined to just one-sided mats, but again, I picked up the double-sided just for the diversity in the mats. If you watch some of my Hobbit battle reports, you'll see that I already owned one of these wasteland mats, so it's just barren earth. So I use this mat itself for like during tournaments that I run and stuff like that for the Hobbit as like a Mordor sort of area or somewhere around there where it's really barren, not a lot of vegetation or growth or anything, but you can see the texture when you get up right close to the texture of all the cracked earth and everything else. So that is the other side. It is the Wastelands mat. And again, it is 6x4 because it gives you, if you're playing smaller games, you can always cut off 2 feet from either side or 1 foot from either side and play in the center of it. So that is that. We'll show you the last mat that I got from GameMats.eu next. Here we are with the last double-sided GameMat that we have, and this one side is the Fallout Zone. You can see some craters printed right onto the mat. You can see some of those checker prints again, faded in there. Debris such as like beams and stuff like that. It looks like roadways or sidewalks potentially. More details here. You can see like newspaper articles that would have been blowing around, as well as it looks like a sidewalk or something here, as well as some grading where a building might have been once upon a time, and then you have like the mesh with the piping all the way over there. The other thing that I saw when I used this mat, so I used this mat already in one of my upcoming videos for Necromunda up against Darren and his Goliath, and what we used it for was the caravan heist scenario, which it will be out in probably like 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, because I do one video a week at this point in time. I don't want to like jam all the videos into 1 week and then not have content for later on. So at 3 weeks time, you'll see this mat in use with some of the terrain from GameMats.eu. And so what I noticed was this track that goes all the way across the board for the most part to almost the 4 foot mark. And so I was really wanting to use this track as where the caravan went across, but we weren't playing on just this side of the board, and tactically, me following this would leave Darren, or give Darren the advantage due to the fact that you can set up those guys within 6 inches for the scenario. So we didn't use this track, but I thought it was pretty cool when I realized that there was the train track along that side. So this is sort of like a post-apocalyptic, maybe like a Mad Max type theme game where everything is destroyed and desolate and barren, void of most life. I won't say all life, because life somehow tries to spring up everywhere, but of most life. So that is that one side of it, and the opposite side is the Imperial base. Sort of like a mechanical, let's get this over there, a mechanical sort of plated area, very gray metallic colors. So you can see all the wires and plating. So if you want to play in like a say like you're fighting over the hull of a spaceship, or if you play the new Star Wars Legion game, and again, you're somewhere that is very mechanical based, so one of their cities like Coruscant, or something like that, this would be the map for you. So again, it's 6x4, and they play on 6x3, if I can remember correctly. I've only played a few times. I don't have all my models painted yet, so I can't do any battle reports, because I want to get them painted before I start filming. But that would be great for some Stormtrooper versus Rebel action right there. So those are the mats. We'll come back and we'll finish it off. What did you guys think of those mats? I know that I greatly appreciated acquiring these mats from GameMat.eu. They have allowed me to increase the number of playable surfaces by 7 more. So I had probably like 10 various mats, not even, probably like 6, 7. So like I doubled, I would say, the amount of different mats that we can play on here at Blackfyre Productions. Well, guys, thank you for watching. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, ignite your hobby.